Okay, so this is section 7.1, part 1 of this video. I'm going to introduce the terms and how to find the sample space and things of that nature. So starting off with, this looks a lot, this is your PowerPoint slides, but kind of condensed. So I've taken out the definitions because you can read the definitions. But for example 1 here, identifying the sample space. So if you're looking for probability of a certain event, you must find the sample space first, which is the total number of outcomes there could be for that trial. So for example here, A, rolling a dice, and then B, birth order, gender for 2 children in a single family. So for rolling a dice, your sample space would be 1 through 6. Because if you think about rolling that 6-sided dice, there is only 6 sides. So you either have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 4, one of those followings. You wouldn't have a 7, right? Or you wouldn't have a 0. Or you wouldn't have anything bigger than a 6, really. So the sample space for the following would be 1 through 6. There's only 6 different numbers you could get out of that. Now for B, it's asking about the birth order, gender. We're going to say B for boy, G for girl. So they could have a boy and then another boy, a boy and then a girl, or then a girl and a boy, or then a girl and a girl. So there were only 4 options here due to the fact that you couldn't have any repeats. You're only having 2 children. They're either going to be a boy or a girl, so it's 50-50. So there's only 4 possibilities there for the total sample space. So you haven't found a probability just yet. You are just setting up the sample space, your total outcomes for the probability that'll later to come. So your turn. Try to identify the sample space for tossing 2 coins together. And we list it inside those funny looking brackets and separate them by commas just so we know that that is the sample space. It's a list of all of the possibilities. So if you're tossing 2 coins, what are your possibilities for the coin? It's a heads or it's a tails. If you're flipping 2 of them, maybe you have a heads and a heads. Maybe you flip a heads and then a tails. Or maybe you flip a tails and a tails. Or maybe a tails and a heads. So in this case, you also just have 4 outcomes for your sample space. And again, not finding probabilities just yet, just setting up your total outcomes.